Hi there, how you doing? It's been a bit. I know it's become a trend for me to just pop up on YouTube every so often with a long form video, and that's exactly what I'm doing today. We are going to get right into it because I'm very excited to show off my latest cosplay, and this is probably going to be the last big cosplay project for a while, so I wanted to commemorate it. Actually, that's a lie. I do have another one, but I didn't film much of anything for it, so you'll probably see that in the Anime NorthCon vlog, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's just get right into it. First and foremost, I would like to warn you about spoilers. I will be including timestamps depending on which piece of the cosplay I'm going to be talking about and how that correlates to the wonderful source material. This is Loop from In Stars in Time, and if you have not played the game, which I highly recommend you do, I would steer clear of parts of this video. However, I will do my best to warn you, perhaps verbally or with timestamps or both, so that you don't have to worry about that and you can enjoy the video spoiler free. I do just want to apologize if the mic quality is a little different. I unfortunately misplaced my cord, so we are using my voice memos, and the mic's not horrible, but I want my Yeti mic. We are going to start off with the two bodysuits that I wear for this cosplay. The first bodysuit is a regular black, sort of shiny Zentai suit sort of thing, and the second is actually lingerie with a bunch of sparkles on it. Also, I thought this was really funny. This was a mistake photo, but it looks like a bunch of little L's for Loop. Unofficially dubbed the underbody suit, I used white fabric spray paint to get the splatters sort of starry effect. That is like chest up on their character design. The fishnets ended up covering a lot of it, but I do still think that it made a difference in terms of the effect. So I'm overall happy with how it turned out. Funny enough, the reviews on Amazon mentioned that it was more of a splatter effect rather than a spray effect, and while I agree, that's actually a great thing for Loop, because I was trying to figure out how I would get that effect. Turns out I just need to let the nozzle fill up. So, yay for unintentional cosplay win. I did that on both sides. I did layer it a lot. It took like 4 days to dry, but I washed it and it survived the wash. It survived the wash twice, actually, so I think I did a good thing. I would like to invite you to please admire the Loop pile. We already used that spray paint, but we have a few options for what we can do first, and I decided to go with the wig. Now, this is a very, very old school method for dyeing wigs, but hear me out. Wait, before you hear me out, this could be considered a spoiler, so skip to here if you want to avoid that. For those in the loop, oh, that was such a funny pun. Loop is Sifrin's Loop, so why wouldn't Loop have black in their hair, right? This was extremely tedious. I was watching a deep dive of High School Musical, like the entire trilogy, and I pretty much finished the video before I was done this. I know there's easier ways to Sharpie dye, but honestly, this has always been my preferred method, so we just went with it. I also really didn't need to do a lot of dyeing. I figured, why not just waste a night and do it the way I want? Also, regarding the length of the wig, I didn't take much of it off. I did do a few messy layers. The idea I was going for was how Loop is depicted in some fan art, which is personally my just chef's kiss favorite depiction of humanized Loop, I suppose. I figure their hair would have the same texture as Sif's, obviously, but I think it would be a little more overgrown and messy, like maybe they tried to take scissors to it in a desperate attempt to maintain some semblance of self-care. I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of what I was going for with the wig, and I really like how it turned out. Tinsel extensions. Yes, tinsel extensions. This is a very new thing that I have started doing, and I would like to incorporate in my cosplays going forward, because it is making me feel better about going gray. The fact that tinsel extensions are a trend, and the way my hair grows gray, it looks like tinsel extensions, I feel very validated. So that is the mindset that I have going into new cosplays, especially because wigs aren't exactly my favorite thing to do, so. We're on to one of my favorite parts of the cosplay, which is the chest star. And I had this concept in mind, and it turned out so perfectly. And I am just so happy with how everything fell together, really. There's another pun in there, I know. But I actually took a pair of my old Metaton gloves and used it as a backing for the star. I added the tiny mirrors, and spoiler warnings again, please skip to this timestamp if you would prefer to avoid them. Again, Siffrin is Loop. Loop is Siffrin. What better way to convey that than have the star be mirrors? Loop is a reflection of Siffrin. Loop is a reflection of you. I don't know. I really love adding little elements like that, even if they only make sense to me or a few select people. It makes cosplay so fun and so personal. As a border, I used little rhinestones. I did hot glue those because I tried to sew them like I sewed the mirrors, but it just wasn't working. Yeah, hot glue's our best friend. We also experienced big brain time in the form of realizing that we could just break up the little mirrors and make our own little mirrors to fill in the gaps. This is where we added snaps to both the back of the star and also the bodysuit. Honestly, we ended up making a sort of necklace. Like, we made it into a sort of necklace, which works a lot better. Just the snaps would have not been enough to bear the sheer weight of this thing, but the snaps definitely helped to reinforce it. This was fun. We also left the protective film until the very end so that we could peel it off and see the full effect of the mirror. Very cool stuff. Of course, one of my other favorite parts of this cosplay was the star crown. It took a lot of fiddling and experimenting and failing and crying with, never having made one of these before. However, we eventually got it. It is created with jewelry wire, braided jewelry wire as well, that we hand braided. A bunch of little rhinestones, pearls, just pretty dangly things that go ding ding when we walk. Mostly everything was attached with jump rings, jewelry chain, and I also think some fishing wire. I can't remember if it made it to the last version. We experimented a lot and we had to take a lot off of it. The headband was also just a whole mess that we ended up working out, but there are a lot of bobby pins involved. That's all we'll say on that. I'm gonna say everything's my favorite part, but here we go. If anyone's been on this channel for an extended period of time, you'll know that we say everything's our favorite, because it is. And why can't it be? But these were cheap press-on nails from Amazon, believe it or not. This was sort of a marriage of the techniques we used for the star crown and the chest star. We had a bit of experience under our belt, so these went pretty smooth. There was a lot of hot glue involved, so I do anticipate at some point things are gonna fall off, but luckily we have a lot of leftover materials. So here is where I was going to apologize and say, yeah, unfortunately, this was all we managed to film, but I'm looking at the timestamp right now, and we are 8 hours in before I cut it down. I filmed 8 hours of this process. Through the making of this cosplay, we got sick, so there is about 3 or 4 more hours of work that I did not film. This includes the headband I mentioned earlier, cutting the wig, and spoiler alert, timestamp here, the coin. And we attached it to this keychain my late grandmother gave me, and it finally has a home. It was originally for my guitar case, and I don't really play guitar anymore. I play bass. So I didn't really have a use for it, but I loved the keychain. It originally ended up on my Metaton microphone, but I think it looks much better with loop. And it serves as a way for me to carry the coin around. Oh, light bulb went off. We did not film any of the process for the mask, which I am so disappointed in us for. I absolutely destroyed a balaclava for this and made it more medical mask-esque sort of accessory. This may change in the future, however, mark my words, the technique will stay because I used those tattoo star freckles on the mask itself and the pattern came out so beautifully. It was so seamless, so I'm very happy with it. I'm not 100% happy with how the mask sits on my face, so I may add a few more snaps to tighten it up. However, I am very happy with how the design looks. Also ecstatic, absolutely over the moon with how beautiful this first round of photos came out. Our mother took these, thank you mom, W mom, cosplay moms are the best. The only thing I'm not too crazy about is the heels. I did not have my black heels, they are at my fiance's house for Anime North. And I suspect the ankle chains will look a lot better on the boots without any laces, just to add some interest. Loop has stars all over their body, and I wanted to make sure that it didn't get lost when I inevitably wore the boots. So I think that it's a good compromise. I actually really do love these boots and how shiny they are, so they were a good stand-in for the platforms, but I love my platforms, and I think they'll look very good with this costume. We can also take a minute to talk about the makeup. I might do a video on this in the future, I'm not sure. If you're interested, please let me know, and I can absolutely film something. This makeup is super easy. I really focus on my neck and the top half of my face. There is no makeup under the mask because that would be disgusting and a nightmare to deal with. So I really focused on straightening out my eyebrows and defining my under eye. I feel like Loop's character is really defined by their eyes, so I really wanted to focus on the eyes, and thankfully I have very large round eyes, so I feel like that worked in my favor. This was the first time in a very long time that I did any sort of bottom lashes, and I'm pleasantly surprised with how it turned out because it hasn't always been my strongest suit, but I really am impressed with how it turned out. If you've been around a while, you know I have a tendency to switch things up a lot. I really love experimenting with different things. And this cosplay really was an experiment. We have never worn any form of bodysuit before, and we do struggle with some body issues. I feel like everyone struggles with body issues, and while it's gotten better over the years, we do still have things about ourselves that we're not 100% happy about. We can love ourselves and also not be happy with everything, you know? Anyway, I'm not going on that tangent in this video, but yeah, we have never worn a bodysuit before, and we were pleasantly surprised with how good it made us feel. Like, this cosplay makes us feel really good. I am so excited to be wearing it to Anime North. I'm also excited to be bringing Birdly and Losing Streak Angel. That is a big one. And that is the cosplay I mentioned before that we did not film, unfortunately. It will definitely be in the Anime North Con vlog. So if you're interested in that, we do have a work in progress highlight on our Instagram if you would like to check that out. If not, I'm sure it'll be on social media soon enough. But back to Loop. This is definitely one of our favorite cosplays. Dare I say, cosplay of the year. I love how we're just making queso references at this point. Yeah, love that guy. Go check him out. I mean, everyone knows who he is. He doesn't need a plug from me. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. We really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and a comment down below letting us know your thoughts. Please subscribe if you're interested in seeing more, and also hit that notification bell if that's something you're into. With that all said, we hope you have a lovely day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.